Arnav just said moist. Arnav just said moist. He didn't say anything.
Welcome everybody.
So Amrit, how did you break 4 laptops? Are you including university time in this, or are you just including?
नहीं
India
यार
time?
हमारे यहाँ ना ऐसे यहाँ पे हुआ है ऑफिस के थ्रू ऐसा मुझे लग रहा है वायरस बहुत फैल रहे हैं कोरोना वायरस के साथ सॉफ्टवेयर वायरस भी काफी फैले हैं
वो
तो
उसको
इसलिए
एंटर
Yes.
he was asked to press the enter button, वो बैठ गया उसके ऊपर.
और फिर और
बैठ
वही
गया
है
उसके ऊपर।
केविन जैसे देख रहे हैं केविन आज अच्छे मूड में है केविन नई जगह में है केविन के साथ अच्छी अच्छी चीजें हो रही हैं तो इसलिए केविन ऐसे गंदे गंदे जोक्स मार रहा है
We won't
But
dwell on
सच्चाई-
why we think Kevin's in a good mood. We'll just
Yeah.
move past that quickly. But Arnav, are you
That's
feeling okay?
disgusting.
What is with this ghee doodh? What is wrong?
भाई
And
भाई
push up.
घी अबे कॉफी में घी मिलाइए कभी स्मॉल
I've
टीस्पून ब्लैक
Lots of
कॉफी
people have coffee and butter.
Yeah,
हाँ
coffee and
बटर बहुत
butter.
अच्छी होती है
Yep.
So just because
नहीं, पर
butter is
घी-
fine, घी बोलते हैं आकाश को और ओ घी
man,
कैसे आ
it
गया
just
right?
sounds so. It sounds so,
Angrez.
Akash,
villager
you're
type. You
Punjabi,
know what I'm
man.
saying?
You have ghee in everything.
Yeah, it's true. We have ghee
ये
in every
कोई
single food.
ये this guy looks like a Punjabi to you किसको देखकर बोल रहे हैं जब
But yeah, I've never seen you have it before. But
Akash were you cheering for Joe Root today
he played really well, no?
oh you didn't
I didn't even watch the match. I was too busy. But
Yeah,
he
I
played
don't think
really
it
well,
was
I know
hard
that.
to figure it out.
Yeah.
If someone
No,
scores
but even Ben
200
Stokes, I think, made 82. I just followed on the Cricket Foca updates on my phone. That's all.
जो रूट ने
I
कितने
deleted
बनाए?
that
Did he
app.
cross 200 और पहला
I-
आउट हो
he
गया?
हाँ हाँ
crossed
200 मारे
200.
200 मारे उसने मैंने जब लास्ट देखा था 206 पे था मैंने कहा मैं तुझे और रन मारते हुए नहीं देख सकता मैं आई एम क्लोजिंग दिस टैब राइट नाउ एंड देन एनडीटीवी पे अलग से अपडेट आया मेरा शाबाश क्या फायदा क्या हुआ ये सब करने का बट यार
So how did the bowlers perform though? Anyone?
What do you think, Akash?
the boys were amazing 555 रन फॉर 8 विकेट 2 दिन बाद 555 रन मार दिए
good.
उन्होंने
Good. Good.
I
It
thought-
looks like
I
I'll
think-
be supporting. Actually, I'll wait. I'll hold off right now.
I heard that Ishan Sharma was the only one who's bowling good apparently. That's what I heard.
Eh? शांत शर्मा बता एंड में उसने विकेट ली होंगी शुरुआत में तो भाई सब 400-500 रन के बाद whoever takes wickets I don't particularly care they were 400 for 4
I don't think that. I think that's the right thing to do. Do not care if after 400, 500 runs have been.
Oh please, India can
Akash-
still win.
No,
Yeah.
no. After last series.
सीरीज के बाद ना
Nah, yeah.
लोग
Now.
लोग डर गए हैं कि हम क्या कर सकते हैं वो नहीं जानते एज अ
careful,
फैन
another-
आई एम ऑलवेज स्कैर्ड आई एम ऑलवेज
Kohli might go missing again. Kohli might go missing again. Neighbor का बच्चा born हुआ बोल के.
Kevin that is such a regressive outlook on life I cannot believe you poha boy
Seriously.
I'm just
that
making
you said
fun.
any of
It's-
these things
I cannot
it's
believe you.
entertaining.
What? Poha, what?
Mr. Poha Kevin Poha your name is Kevin Poha now
Our audience must be very confused at what this
Yeah.
joke is.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
we
नहीं,
cannot
नहीं,
see
Kevin
it.
has
We need
been
to start
getting-
the podcast, guys.
Kevin has been getting बहुत अच्छी पोहा लास्ट कुछ few दिन से बहुत खुश है इसलिए
यार
Oh my god.
भाई
What's
रूट
up,
ने
guys?
218 मारे
Oh
भाई
my god. 218? Chalo, go. I'll hold off. What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Vele podcast. This is the podcast where 4 friends meet up to talk about a variety of topics. I'm your host Akash, and with me are my
Nahin.
friends Kevin.
नहीं नहीं
Kevin,
What's
say
up?
कोई
hi.
नहीं है तेरे साथ you are
Arnav,
alone तू अकेला है
Hello.
and the fool talking over me is Amrit.
मैं
Yes,
नहीं
Amrit.
मानता मैं
Exactly.
मानता ही नहीं
Uh-huh. So today we're going to talk about a very broad topic, which is free speech, but we'll split this up into sections relating to what is going on in India specifically. So let's start with the question of what is free speech to you? So I was going to throw this at Arnav because he's in a very good mood today and he looks very active and focused on this podcast. But let's go to Kevin. Kevin, what is free speech to you? Kevin shrugs his shoulders. Very good
It's hard
He
start.
to
doesn't want
explain
free
what free
speech. उसको
speech is.
चाइना में जाना है.
No,
But
what
me
is your
talking-
definition of free speech
I
for
mean,
you?
in my opinion, as long as I can say something openly without, like, as long as I'm not passing on hatred or causing a violence, so like a hatred towards a community or something like that, like racism
Instead of
or,
spreading hatred in
sexism
general.
or anything.
Yeah.
As long as it's an open comment, I'm all for free speach. For example, Trump's tweet, like a lot of people were saying that when he was blocked, that is free speech. No, that is not free speech. As a president, causing hatred against any group is not called free speech. So that is what I would, in my opinion.
So
And I
as
should
long as it's
not
not
be,
harming anyone or anything,
yeah, it should not
it should
harm
not.
any innocent people, especially.
Hmm. So Amrit.
यार मेरे लिए पर ऑन अ इंडिविजुअल बेसिस जब हम पूछे कि फ्री स्पीच क्या है देन इट्स प्रीटी मच सिमिलर टू व्हाट ही सेड कि if I am not trying to incite absolutely not even negativity, and I won't even go to community or any part of it, as long as I am not doing something that is going to cause deliberate harm to any other human being, then I think that's a decent enough benchmark to begin with in what I believe is free speech. Now the limits of freedom of expression and वगैरह जिसके ऊपर हम आगे जाएंगे और everything में मेरा हमेशा logic सिर्फ ये होगा कि in my definition itself I think it's quite clear कि अगर तुम किसी को harm किसी भी तरीके से नहीं पहुंचा सकते वो that sounds extreme when you say it, but because then it's like are you being sensitive or not, but I feel in general we should as much as possible avoid deliberate harm, and the extent of that I think throughout the course of the podcast we'll investigate, but yeah.
Hmm. So Arnav, I'll give you a little more time to get it
No, I
act to.
think on paper, what these guys said, मेरा भी same definition होगा, right? And in a most perfect world, that would be my answer as well. But I think
Mhm.
as I grow older, one thing I've realized कि free speech is more of a myth. I don't think कि free speech great. I mean सुनने में बहुत अच्छा लगता है free speech और ऐसा, but there's extremely fine line वहाँ पे, because what we think कि, oh, we don't want to cause any harm to others is a very relative thing, right? You never know what we say or what we do can cause issue in any small, even in small section of the community, or regardless size kya hai. So I think it's a very fine line, and I don't have the answer कि free speech exactly क्या होनी चाहिए, because everyone perceives every single thing very differently, or everyone can perceive things differently. So it's very hard for me to say कि free speech कहाँ पे harm करेगी, कहाँ पे harm नहीं करेगी. In theory, yeah, it should not cause any harm to anyone, and I should have that freedom of speech as we all are talking about. But in practical use uska, it's a very fine line which I'm not able to distinguish.
So the basic thing for free speech is like everyone can voice their opinion freely, basically. And I obviously I agree with you. Spreading hate is not for with all of you. I don't agree with spreading hate as that's free speech, but I feel that people who probably spread hate, most of them meet the have to be prepared to meet the consequences of their kind of action. Even though it is in a way free speech, they're voicing their own opinion. But yeah, that's the like Arnav said, there's a fine line, I feel, what the definition of free speech can be. But I agree with all of you that in my terms, free speech is basically anything that is not hurting another community, anything hurting anyone at all.
Yeah.
Being a
Essentially,
voice of
not
reason.
inciting violence.
Yeah, not inciting violence. Exactly, Kevin. Within reasonably moral and bringing something of benefit, hopefully, most cases. So with that, let's delve into let's open up the topic a bit more. So in India specifically, I'm going to ask a question whether banning an app outright is a good solution towards containing fringe or foreign policy response. So we've seen this happen with PUBG, with India's tension with China. India put a ban on PUBG for all Indian residents. Then there's Parler, but I'm not sure about that. Amrit, you know about Parler. Can you explain
The,
what Parler is?
no. So essentially, what when I heard about Parler was when it was removed from a lot of the Amazon or Google and Apple के Play Store से. Parler was apparently an app which unlike other social messaging apps, में there was no, you could literally say anything, and was the logic used there कि तुम कुछ भी कह सकते हो, you cannot be flagged or your content can't be taken down. Now what it got predictably being used for is a lot of क्या कहते हैं, the hate propaganda, racial stuff. Like it became like a very extreme. as you can expect of the internet, it got quite extreme really fast. So Parler was then eventually क्योंकि US में capital वाले attack के बाद, because a lot of those people planned apparently the attack there apparently, then it got removed from the Play Store for violation. So it started an entire definition of कि तुम because some people think that it is extreme, can you actually remove it? अभी पार्लर के सीईओ ने आके भी बोला कि he was removed because he said कि नियो नाजी ग्रुप्स को अलाउ नहीं करना चाहिए. तो whose definition of free speech do we follow is essentially the question with Parler.
So I'm going to say, relating to what affected us mainly, was PUBG for all of us, because we all play it a lot. We used to play it at least during lockdown a lot more and
But
everything.
is banning PUBG, does it come under free speech?
Not well. You're going against it now because people didn't want PUBG to be banned a lot.
Freedom of expression के
Yeah, it's a freedom.
purview में in a broader way आ सकता है essentially, because it's just because it's वहाँ हमें लोग कहेंगे कि तो हमें इस तरीके से recreation करना है, हमें इस तरीके से वो करना है,
Yeah.
आप उसके बीच में आके just एक उस tension की वजह से कैसे ला सकते हो? Like at that point, we had an entire episode discussing this
Actually,
entire topic.
I wanted to ask you guys, okay, Parler जहाँ पे there was no consequences of you can write literally anything and not face any consequences. Essentially, I I feel it's counterproductive when you block those things, because essentially you're telling a group of people that you are not allowed, whereas others are allowed. I feel educating your population is a better way to go through. Than banning. I mean, it, I feel like example. I'll tell you, like, the best example was Trump getting banned from Twitter. The majority Trump supporters said that this is all done to cater towards a group of people. So I don't agree with any of it, but I feel it's counterproductive. You're making that other part of the group more powerful by doing that in a lot of
But
ways.
again, Kevin, it's a matter of perception on all sides, ना कि जैसे आकाश ने एक बहुत important point बोला था, which I felt is, I think is something that जब तुम anything that comes under free speech, like मेरा essential definition is on a personal level कि जैसे हम दोनों बैठे हैं ना, third person comes in, I do not want to be around that person अगर वो जान पूछ के deliberately harm करने के लिए कुछ कह रहे हैं. बट आकाश ने एक बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग बात कही थी. आकाश ने कहा कि तुम कुछ भी कह सकते हो, बट यू शुड आल्सो बी अवेयर ऑफ द बी रेडी फॉर द कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस ऑफ व्हाट इज बीइंग सेड वाली बात.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when we ban, like if certain apps believe that they can allow anything to a large extent, like PUBG falls under international relations soft power वाला thing. Like तुम अगर directly indirect वो था कि like तुम्हारी एक इम्पोर्टेंट कंपनी जिसको जिसको हम डायरेक्टली बहुत ज्यादा हमारे यूजर्स हैं, हम उनको रिमूव करें, आई कैन स्टिल लुक एट द पबजी बैन इन अ डिफरेंट वे. द पार्लर थिंग एंड द बैनिंग ऑफ एप्स, जैसे ये जो ट्रेंड शुरू हुआ है तो हुआ था जैसे अभी जो कि अंडरस्टैंड दिस वाज अ डिबेट दैट वाज सपोज्ड टू हैव एंडेड लास्ट ईयर, पबजी बैन एंड वो तो वर पार्ट ऑफ अ डिफरेंट थिंग. ये पार्लर वाला एंड एवरीथिंग एल्स जो अभी ये ट्विटर की कंट्रोवर्सीज हुई हैं, they started in the last 2 months and the debate just came down to this. When you ban an app, as Kevin says, you can sideline a certain amount of people. That is true. But when you are saying something deliberately provocative, as Akash said, you have to also be okay with then there being some sort of a backlash
Consequence.
or something. Because
Mm.
if I you cannot we cannot control how somebody feels. Now I can say something. I will say rose is red and I'm like very happy about it. मुझे लगता है ये fact है, मैंने बोल दिया. But unfortunately हम इतने high level of population पे हैं that somebody can get very deeply offended. And I do not know. But in this case I do not know. Now मुझे पता है कि मैं ये बोलूंगा तुझे बुरा लगेगा. And you are in that thing. So then I think as adults then you have to be aware कि तुम किसके सामने क्या बोल रहे हो. Unfortunately, that's a reality that you have to accept, I feel.
But यहाँ पे I think
Mm-hmm.
what we are talking about is I think this app called Parler, and on one side PUBG, right? They both fall in the same category. These are platforms, right? So freedom of speech का concept इन पे apply नहीं होना चाहिए क्योंकि these are platforms which they have banned. platform doesn't express or voice their opinion by themselves. It's the people on those platforms who are actually voicing their opinions or expressing their voice, right? So banning a platform, I don't think it should be considered under freedom of speech, because it's like saying कि आपने कोई movie theater बंद कर दिया है for whatever reason, right? Or because you can always say कि oh यहाँ पे लोग आके they want to entertain themselves or they want to express themselves in theater. But end of the day, I don't think that will come under freedom of speech, right? Because banning a parlor or PUBG, it has nothing to do with any one individual's right. So freedom of speech mein, someone should be able to voice their, at least from what I understood, freedom of speech mein, it's on an individual basis, right? We are not saying कि पूरे कलेक्टिव इसको की फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच है, लाइक प्लेटफॉर्म को फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच का कुछ रिलेशन ही नहीं है फ्रॉम व्हाट आई अंडरस्टैंड. इफ दे वांट टू बैन अ ऐप फॉर व्हाटएवर रीजन बिकॉज इट्स enabling some folks to incite violence या जो भी hatred against a country या जो भी है, so banning it, I don't know if it will come under freedom of speech in any shape and form, because you're banning a platform has nothing to do with लोगों के individual वो. Banning Trump's Twitter account, yeah, I think that definitely argument comes under freedom of speech and expression, because you have banned one particular individual from expressing his uh, opinion, and that ban, I think Twitter implemented that ban, right? So do they have the right to take that action? You are now banning someone because it's a private. End of the day, it is a company, and so freedom of speech किस लेवल पे implement करते हैं? Is it only at a government level पे are we talking about कि only they have the right to implement this freedom of speech, or are we talking, because these are end of the day PUBG, Parler, they end of the day all are private companies in a way. It's governed by it's a business. It's not a government की कोई entity है, right? So freedom of speech वहाँ पे भी apply हो सकती है कि I don't know in constitution, at least in India, I don't know if it applies to even private entities.
नहीं, but the thing is like I think this is covered in the constitution under I think article 19 के या किसी के अंदर है पहला कि उसके second part में है कि there are reasonable restrictions that are applied.
Yeah, it's not
जिसमें
absolute, right?
Yeah, it's not your freedom of speech and expression is not absolute. Like तुम अगर public disorder cause करते हो, for example, morality वगैरह के grounds पे, you are that it is a fundamental right that can be taken from you, that it exists. But for me the part is जो तूने वो कहा कि like I think that was a very good point you made कि हम किस level पे judge कर रहे हैं इसको. तो if you are judging this on the level of कि हमने एक platform को ban किया है instead of the users who are saying inflammatory comment, that's correct. But like I think case by case देखेंगे तो then we'll understand. I think PUBG's ban falls lesser into freedom of speech, but than an overall thing.
Right,
I feel
yeah.
personally.
Yep.
Parlor I feel is now again मेरे लिए outright bans मुझे honestly, but as I grow up I kind of understand why sometimes people have to take extreme moves, but I feel like Kevin said it is only going to spawn more rip-offs. It's like PUBG के ban का one part I was going to say was कि अगर तुम्हें PUBG रोकना है I think उसमें VPN को बहुत boost मिला. Like essentially people found a very direct loophole to go around and get back to their regular gaming essentially.
Yeah.
So I think it just in this day and age
I feel it was
I don't
more
think it
political,
works.
right? I feel it
Yeah.
was more political.
Yeah,
PUBG
no,
was
it
political.
it was
PUBG was
it was
100% political.
it was a very direct move for based on the situation which we do not wish to escalate in a military way. उसके लिए ये बहुत this was a very moral thing also for the country.
I think also we have freedom of speech suddenly in past 10-15 years it has become a huge. जैसे पहले भी for example in पुराने मीडिया में, right, like people have been, countries have been banning books. I mean इंडिया में बहुत सारी books ban हुई है, documentaries ban हो जाती हैं because they violate whatever section of freedom of speech, right? Because there are a bunch of sections which have been criminalized in India, so they don't cover under freedom of speech. So now the thing is, if you're talking about social media, because it's a very very separate identity, if you ban one book versus you ban a whole platform, for example, जैसे और the good part was in terms of ये जो भी app था Parallel in US में, by the way, for the audience, this is a US app. I don't think it was available in India or any outside country from what I understood, but this was banned recently because उस time people, as Amrit said, कि they were inciting वहाँ पे violence and they were planning against whatever future attacks at capital and all those things. So वहाँ पे the thing is, what they did was what they, as in these private companies, did was they not only banned as they did not ban only from App Store. What they did is, so all these apps and all these websites, they need some sort of hosting somewhere, right? They all are hosted in some cloud or whichever platform. So it might be Amazon cloud or AWS or Microsoft. What they went one step ahead, and they decided to pull out the resources itself. So जो underlying infrastructure था, that only got removed. So practically, even if you use VPN or any kind of thing, that app is not available. You cannot use that app. So so what they did was complete outright, like they shut it down. And usually it takes a lot of time to build your own infrastructure and then spin up the app, right? So यहाँ पे what they did was, I think, in a way good, at least in case of Parler, because if it's inciting violence against your country, it's not even about one race or one community यहाँ पे, right? If क्योंकि वहाँ पे elections है, and then वहाँ पे inauguration होने वाला है, and if the security and if everyone is worried कि वहाँ पे they are planning attacks on that particular platform, so they took it down. And I don't think isme there was any ki, oh, we will ban this user on this app, we won't ban this user on that app, right? Because yahan pe it was that one particular platform which was promoting these kind of things. And I think the CEO came out, and CEO, and I think
He got
unka
fired.
yeah,
He
he
got
recently
fired.
got fired. So
So
I think in that case, I do agree that sometimes you have to take those extreme measures. But again, now there's a very, very fine line ki what's the limit to it, right? Now it has
yeah.
given absolute power to all these tech companies
So
who can take down any single platform in a
No,
split second.
because see, the monopoly of the tech companies aside, it essentially also shows you that the limit is that they literally launched a terrorist attack on their government building. So I
Yeah.
see, for me, if I remove these two topics and apps from the freedom of speech discussion also, it is, I think it brought jumps into a broader discussion. Because Akash, will you introduce us to अभी जो ट्विटर में ये सब जो चल रहा है? I think Twitter में this entire controversy that has
I d-
sprung up, that is where the worst
The
of freedom of
situation of
speech का session
Rihanna
है.
and Greta Thunberg specifically as well, where I think how many accounts has India blocked, Twitter accounts, because of
300.
they've a lot now. Something I read 250
Hmm.
last time. I don't know how much now
Hmm.
it is, but it was with a specific hashtag. I think it was about some Modi planning
Fa-
farmer
or
genocide or something.
farmers against
Farm,
genocide or something.
yeah.
yeah, something like
Against
that.
farmers.
So anyone who had that hashtag basically got their account blocked, from what I'm understanding, by the Indian government. So this, in a way, yes, it is suppressing the right people's right to free speech in a way, because but yeah,
That is
Arnav's
definitely.
yeah, the 100%. But like Arnav said, it's, is it Twitter doing it, or is it how is it happening? I'm not understanding. So the Indian government is asking Twitter.
I think so. From what I understand, usually
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think
government,
they
they
send
approach all these companies.
IT
Yeah.
Ministry of Information and वो Information Broadcasting and Technology. I think they sent
Yeah.
सिंगिंग की इस हैशटैग को डाउन करो. तो ट्विटर ने essentially I think उसके बाद बोला कि अनबैन करके अनबैन कर दिया, कहते हुए कि फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच का ये वो है. This is
Mhm.
against our policy on freedom of
Our
speech.
guidelines for
So
freedom of
yeah,
speech. Yes.
so then the argument started कि the reason लोग बोल रहे क्या है freedom of speech, because then वो रियाना ने बोला कि let's talk about this. Greta Thunberg का वो toolkit का वो निकला, and then people
Yeah.
were like कि ये toolkit the toolkit में essentially लिखा था different ways in which people are supposed to I think it was by a group in
Protest, like
Canada.
yeah.
Yeah, they had to कि किस तरीके से tweets बाहर डालने हैं, which is
Yep.
first of all very common for all major social media places.
Mhm.
कोई भी
Yeah.
कैंपेन अगर आप देखते हैं सोशल मीडिया में, उसमें एक ना कोई कंपनी टूल किट या वो बनाती है. But I think people just didn't expect कि people, because it seemed very fake. People are aware of it, but it's a bigger slap on the face when you see it. Like you see so many screenshots in any election कि यार ये देखो सबने सेम कॉपी ट्वीट डाला है. तो उसके बाद एक डिबेट आया कि लॉट ऑफ मेजर इंडियन सेलिब्रिटीज केम आउट एंड सेड कि
I think
हमारी
Akshay Kumar and I can't remember some.
सचिन
So they all copy
द
pasted a tweet.
हमारा बेस्ट कैप्टन अजिंक्य रहाणे सब सबके सब घुस गए, सारे के सारे आके बात करने लग गए कि हम सॉवरेन इशू है, बाहर के लोगों को नहीं आना चाहिए. एंड उसके अंदर से डिबेट शुरू हुआ कि यार ये फ्री स्पीच है क्या, सोशल मीडिया
Mhm.
की वजह से फ्री स्पीच बन क्या गई है अभी. because in my opinion, I think the social media ke era mein we have forgotten there is nothing known even as free speech. Everything is just everything is blatantly propaganda based. Everything
Yeah.
like abhi is time pe people have the high ground after seeing the toolkit ki okay इन इस तरह ये प्रोपागेंडा है हमारे अगेंस्ट ये ट्विटर पे बात कर रहे हैं बट आई थिंक व्हाट हैज हैपेंड इज लास्ट 20 years में वी हैव जस्ट बिकम अवेयर ऑफ एवरीवन्स व्यूज एंड आई डोंट थिंक एज ह्यूमन बीइंग्स वी आर रेडी फॉर दैट मच इंफॉर्मेशन इन द फर्स्ट प्लेस
Yeah.
इतने सारे लोगों का ओपिनियन इज नॉट समथिंग दैट वी आर इमोशनली डिजाइंड टू इवन हैंडल लाइक 10-15 लोग कुछ बोले कि वन थिंग है ये 2 लाख करोड़ लोग का ओपिनियंस एंड वो देखने के आई डोंट थिंक वी आर एवर प्रोग्राम टू completely like even process properly and I think that
Yeah.
has completely destroyed because now where Arnan was originally bola tha I completely agree like that social media has destroyed any idea of free speech because my original was कि तुम्हें जानबूझ के यार किसी को हर्ट मत करो इट्स अ वेरी सिंपल थिंग इफ यू आर अवेयर तुम किसी को हर्ट करने वाले हो लाइक द वे आई एम टॉकिंग टू द थ्री ऑफ यू मुझे इफ आई एम इन फ्रंट ऑफ समबडी एल्स वैसी बदतमीजी नहीं करनी क्योंकि मुझे उन्हें ठेस नहीं पहुंचानी उस तरीके से लेकिन सोशल मीडिया में तुम कुछ भी बोलो
It's given the
there is
confidence to people sometimes,
not just the
most of them.
Yeah.
confidence you
For
don't know whom
yeah,
it is going to reach in the
yeah,
first
and
place
that
so if you
also,
want
yeah.
Exactly.
if you play
Yep.
that game if you're ready to play that game which I see I'm going to pहले से declare I am too much of a politically correct coward in those situations to go and have an to go and talk on that platform because first of all as you grow older I do not particularly understand कि अगर तुम रियल लाइफ में वो एक्शंस नहीं ले रहे तो तुम वहां जाके किसको कन्विंस कर रहे हो दैट्स अ
Yeah.
सेपरेट टॉपिक इन इस डे एंड एज में our idea itself of free speech has evolved because now whatever we say is being judged by people who were never supposed to hear every stupid thought that came to our mind in the first place.
Mm.
I also
And
wanted to say that there is nothing called like this is a local problem or something like that. Every problem today in today's media has allowed it to be globalized. So I mean, I don't agree with the tweet saying that oh
Yeah,
this is a
that's true.
problem for India, others shouldn't get involved. That's
I mean,
bullshit. Because when Trump was saying something, all there were a lot of Indians also commenting on it. So that doesn't make sense. You're being a hypocrite by doing that. So
No, I mean it's not about कि
it's just
problem कहाँ का है. It's about कि free speech में I think I started with saying कि we have to understand free speech is especially because it's government is going to dictate that, right? No, whether it's a US government or Indian government. Now whatever they perceive as कि it should not come under free speech, they are going to ban it, and or ban it, or at least they will try to ban it. For example, what government is doing अगर वो जो भी hashtag है and they don't agree with it, they feel it's causing more. So it's about their perception and their image which they want to maintain. So
yeah.
and you
So
can
it's political.
it's
It's
always
political,
political.
right?
And
Yeah,
because end
correct.
of the day and I think which ये होना भी चाहिए because in a country like India we cannot expect suddenly कि 100 crore लोग are going to be educated and aware of all these topics and subjects, right? So वहाँ पे somewhere someone has to draw that line. Now social
not
media
just
has
India, Arnav, एक second, not just India, world over.
yeah
जितना भी तू
I give India का example because we are talking about India में भी जो हुआ, right, in terms of वो but because and I think yeah अमृत जो भी कह रहा है कि it's everywhere, like even US में which happened literally one month back. It shows कि अभी I don't think any of the country is ready to give that full liberty कि, oh you can say whatever you want and you won't face any consequences. And I think
Yeah.
somewhere if we want to argue कि if it's right or wrong morally, it's an endless debate. I mean, because what you feel is right for someone else that might be wrong. So there's no black and white first of all. So I think and end of the day, as we mentioned कि अभी government tweets ban कर रही है, you might feel कि अरे यार तो गलत है. On paper, yeah, it sounds wrong कि ये तो they're restricting someone's voice, and it is. But at the same time, they unfortunately in I think except US, I don't know. India mein to definitely freedom of speech is not absolute, as we mentioned. There are sections where they can be things can be criminalized if it's causing not only again violence, by the way, if it's causing some public mein, if it's causing some issues, foreign policies mein, if it's causing some. There's a
yeah
bunch of sections which they're already in place. So I don't think freedom of speech is very straightforward. Oh, you have the freedom to say anything and anywhere, right?
because I think that's what
But
people mistake it in a large way no
Yeah.
कि
but do you think like targeting like a politician related to like any of these, like say protests, and they're targeting Modi. But that is not technically hatred, right? I mean, I don't know.
It
I'm
So
depends on
asking,
the
like
way it's
that's
Kevin,
done, right? It
if you're
depends.
interpretation,
saying
Kevin,
Modi
Yeah.
it's in the,
genocide, for example,
yeah,
it is
Kevin,
something you can always argue. You can, there's no black and white यहाँ पे. That's the
yeah,
problem.
Yeah. Yep.
exactly. It's in the eyes of the beholder. You can, what may seem normal to you may seem
no,
offensive
no,
to
it's not
somebody else.
normal. I don't
No,
want
no,
to
no,
say
no,
it is normal,
no,
but
no.
I feel it's not
Assume.
targeting a group of people or anything like that. It's
No,
not
but
abusing anyone
even then,
specifically.
like either way, unke people who support a certain politician. Let us make it a blank slate. You are saying this about any politician. There is a hashtag saying this and this about this politician. Their supporters have every right to feel ki they are now uska right and Kevin, don't you understand? That's why I said the definition of free speech has been completely annihilated in social
Yeah.
media due to social media
Yeah.
because if you can find 1 lakh people who agree with the way you saw it, they can find 50,000 people also who saw it the other way. And
Hmm.
if you are as a reasonable adult, you know agar two people are in the same room and have different opinion, it can get tense. Now लाखों लाखों लोग उल्टे ओपिनियन के साथ बैठे हैं कि तुमने हमारे पर्सन के बारे में ऐसा क्यों कैसे बोल दिया. जैसे अभी अमेरिका का एग्जांपल ही ले लो, अगर इंडिया के एग्जांपल से हट जाते हैं, जो ट्रम्प सपोर्टर्स का एंगर कि उसके उनके पॉजिटिव्स के बारे में कोई कभी बात क्यों नहीं करता, एंड पीपल विल ट्राई टू से नहीं हाँ हाँ एक्चुअली ऐसे कहता, बट नो they believe deeply that everything he did is positive, like
Yeah.
there is no and on the other side people like see
I
हम
mean,
जैसे हम हंसेंगे, we will laugh at it and be like no, but
I mean,
in
negative for someone is positive for someone else,
exactly
essentially.
na
Yeah.
Kevin, that's the thing,
And if we
that part
can
of free speech is over completely.
And if we can justify कि ट्रम्प को बैन किया है, being the president of a country, if we can justify at least अपन चारों के, forget about what people are thinking, if we all can say कि ट्रम्प को बैन करना was it's okay, they did it because for a reason, right? If we all have the same perception, if we can say that, then ट्रम्प को बैन करिए, forget about all these people who are posting some random tweets, right? I mean उनको
Yeah,
बैन करने के लिए तो how can we even argue against it कि अरे ट्रम्प को you can ban, but then you cannot ban these individuals यहाँ पे, और उनके
वो
tweets you
बंद
cannot ban यहाँ
what
पे.
is that guy Jack जो इनका CEO या कोई
Jack
है भी है,
Dorsey.
if
Jack
he, if he's
Dorsey, yeah.
still this,
Twitter
if
ka
he's
CEO.
still is he still the CEO? Okay. So
Yeah.
he
Yep.
said something after that, like like I got that update saying that it sets a wrong precedent, and that
Yeah.
like it sets a wrong precedent, and I was like, he's right. Like I like Arnav Navi bola, like we very casually were okay with it, but because we are of the political mind that he is has not done the greatest of things for them, right, for the world in general.
Hmm.
We have different expectations of the American presidential office, all of that. But what if you are someone who absolutely is on the other side? Don't you think for the last 1 month, 1.5 months, they think they are being stifled? Even if you think nahi, it's okay for some people to be stifled, because that is the worst precedent that is being set now. We are
I
we are
think what
dividing
people need
ourselves
to
more.
I think what people need to understand is also, just because someone is targeting their, say, their favored person or something, doesn't mean they're targeting you. So essentially, if someone is talking bad about the government, doesn't mean that they're
It,
talking bad about the supporters of the government as well. They're
But
talking about one
Kevin,
or two things that the government is doing is bad.
नहीं,
I
yeah,
think
Kevin, it's
that's
लोग
where
like
people
saying
need to
कि
draw that
it's
that's
line and
it's very
understand that.
hard. I think that's very
it's
hard.
impossible. It's like saying
yeah.
कि I will take a
फुटबॉल
very
टीम की
bad
बात केविन,
exactly.
केविन लोग
I was about
स्पोर्ट्स
to take
में
sports
पर्सनल लेते हैं.
example.
आई रिमेम्बर जब मैंने फर्स्ट टाइम वी मेट एंड हम वो वहाँ पे नए वाले फ्लैट में जब सेकंड टाइम शिफ्ट हुए थे, आई रिमेम्बर अस बीइंग अराउंड एंड समवन मेड सम जोक अबाउट क्या कहते हैं बार्सिलोना एंड समथिंग लाइक दैट. आई डोंट मीन दिस इन अ फनी वे एट ऑल, बट वी वर स्टिल 18 19 एंड लाइक we all got really angry and charged up. I remember एक बार जब तेरा और हमारे
But it
फ्रेंड का
depends, right? It depends
cricket,
on
नहीं नहीं,
the
listen
situation,
listen
though,
listen,
right?
no
Like,
no,
as in
but that's my point na Kevin, you are a
maturity.
rational person, you are a rational person, and still you now
No, I think
imagine.
I've become a little bit more rational
I'm no
compared
no
to
I'm
what I
I'm
was.
I'm saying I'm saying now
It's with
na, to rational.
experience,
Back
I
then
do.
we would all get super emotional in a certain way. Does not mean
Hmm.
कि abhi there are not certain topics which you won't get emotional about. Now imagine to be a fan. Fan comes like fanatic ke through, word ke through. So you are deeply involved. This is your identity.
It's
So
someone you can
obviously if
relate
you,
to, so team you can relate to. It's you'll obviously take it a bit like you'll take it personally in a
you'll take
way.
it to
Let's
heart.
say,
This is my
yeah,
guy.
take it to heart.
Kevin, let's
Exactly.
be very honest.
So
You're
does
We
that
can
invested.
call
explain
ourselves.
Trump supporters then,
That's
Huh?
who are
basically, yeah.
violent against capital?
क्या करना है?
So
क्या-
do you then does that mean this supports the Trump supporters like who marched into the Capitol?
Kevin, if you go by example in every situation in life, you will find that there is point in what both sides are doing. Unfortunately, you can find reasoning that works for both sides.
So
It is
actually,
not a
another example I wanted to ask you guys. So do you think this is breach of freedom of speech? Like, so during the protests, internet was like there was a blackout
Yeah.
on internet in
Internet
Delhi.
was shut. Yep.
what Arnav said.
So
Arnav
is
said
that
the
as a
internet shut.
freedom?
Arnav said you took down the platform. That's wrong.
Mhm.
क्योंकि तुमने पूरा तुम उनका वो access हटा रहे हो उस तरीके से. But government can say security threat है. तो we are taking down.
I mean,
जम्मू
for
एंड कश्मीर
example,
में
जम्मू कश्मीर में या
जिसमें
अभी अब
अब
शुरू
आया
हुआ है.
Abhi
आज
recently, na? Aaj shuru.
आज
Yeah.
आज
Yeah,
4G
aaj.
आया जम्मू एंड
Yep.
कश्मीर में
Yep.
जनवरी फरवरी 6 और अगस्त 5 2019 से. भाई मजाक की बात लगती है बट कैन यू इमेजिन 1.5
It's
साल से
crazy.
just वो 4G नहीं था.
I mean,
2G
वो
और
ना कि
उसके base पे.
because we are living in a society जहाँ पे अपने को सब कुछ access है,
Yeah.
so we might think कि अरे that's wrong, but at the same time अगर actually कहीं यहाँ पे for example जम्मू कश्मीर में अगर security का वो है, and again we can sit and think यहाँ पे कि अरे नहीं वहाँ पे कुछ नहीं है security, वहाँ कोई issue नहीं है, everything is fine. We don't know वहाँ की situation. At the same time they बेचारों को actually internet access which is now becoming more like a fundamental right. It's still not, but I think it's becoming like that.
It's becoming a
फिनलैंड
necessity
में
in
है ना
people's lives
फिनलैंड
now.
फिनलैंड में it's a fundamental right.
Yeah,
access
I
Some
to
think
internet and
they've
everything.
yeah.
announced as a necessity in people's lives now.
But
People need it.
sometimes these things have to be done. I'm not saying कि protest में अच्छा किया बुरा किया. I have no no sides to take वहाँ पे. But sometimes these things have to be done for whatever reason. अब we can always argue on the justification of it कि if it's right or wrong. But
Yeah,
there is
It's
no debate to
political.
it.
The
because you
sad
can
part
say,
is it was
political.
more political.
no
No, it was
Kevin,
political. Banning the
every
internet
decision,
was to
absolutely Kevin, every decision being taken in India is can in the world, forget India, is being can be looked at from a blatant political lens.
Because
It is
everything
why
they are the ones who are driving these things, so we can always blame
yeah
everything on them कि अरे ये political है, right?
हाँ,
And we can always
Kevin,
say
I
that
mean,
because
no, you can't say it is blame. It is political.
yeah
There is a big part of it is political,
no
and there is a big
obviously
part. There is a reason also.
Kevin,
That is what I'm saying.
every single law, every single article,
is a political law.
it's a political
It's-
war.
Yeah.
Every single thing is political that way
Yeah,
in a
that's my point.
democratic country.
Kevin, at this point, if we call something political, it's like saying कि हवा है यहाँ पे. Like it's like that.
Yeah.
That is like an obvious now. But the thing about it is that is one of the reasons why people live in things like a democracy. क्योंकि if you are you have issues with politics, then you are given a chance to decide based on that. It's one of the reasons why representative democracy हमारा इतना strong है और इतना important है. Sorry, like it's so crucial कि this is the mood of it.
Protesting is a
because-
right in a
yeah,
democratic
you have the right to assemble और तुम्हें वो करो. But
Yeah.
also we leave law and
Peacefully.
order in whose hands?
Peacefully,
पुलिस के हाथ में
definitely.
छोड़ते हैं. If the police says कि यार देखो यहाँ से rumor mongering इस तरीके से फैल रही है और हमें वो रोकना है, how many people standing on the ground will be like नहीं आपकी बात गलत है. घर पे बैठ के सबको सब कुछ गलत लगता है. I'm
Yeah.
not saying they are correct also for doing it. I'm just saying the point is, see, that's why I said free speech is dead in that aspect, because whatever you can no longer with full confidence say कि मैं ये जो बोल रहा हूँ this is not going to harm somebody at all, because there are just so many ways of interpreting the situation, like that
It's like-
legislature in UP who said that ये सब आतंकवादी हैं and all of that, and उसके उल्टे इस तरफ से किसी ने बोला कि नहीं कंट्री में किसी और कोई और फ्लैग चलाएंगे and like ट्राइकलर को हटाओ वगैरह. Both of them feel they are quite correct in what they are saying, and they have supporters on both sides. Okay, both have a high amount of supporters on both sides. Let's not kid ourselves. But दिक्कत क्या है? like issue क्या है इसमें? कौन डिसाइड करेगा कि सही है या गलत है?
I think
Nobody.
अभी जो इंडिया में हो रहा है which is a great example, people should understand and realize कि उसका importance क्या है. कि forget about topic क्या है, right? Topic ठीक है, वो whoever parties are involved they will discuss and they will sort it out. But
Yeah.
people have the right to protest. At the same time, government has the right to push back. This is a exact thing which is going on in India. कि हाँ, you can do peaceful protests, you can come on roads, rally करो, वहाँ तक permission है, but when government thinks, and that's their perception now, they think
yeah.
now line has been crossed, they push back. And you can always argue ki what's wrong. You cannot, it's very easy for us to say कि अरे नहीं, government should never push back, they should always allow to
Yeah, it
protest.
happens everywhere. With the Black Lives Matter in America, the police pushed back the government because obviously the government felt that this is getting out
And
of
all
hand,
these things
which
are
was-
political. What happened
and
in
right-
US was
and
political. What happened in
right-
India is political.
Right
Yeah.
or wrong, understand this.
Exactly
that
right.
This is the transition in human civilization that we are witnessing. Each passing year, mein, amount of information, people's decisions, everything is like more and more charged up and like more. But the reality of it is कि very few people are actually there on the ground when where this is happening.
Exactly.
Very small population is there on the ground. So अगर
Yeah.
तुम पुलिस वालों की नजर से देखो, अच्छा यार आप चाहते हो हम इनको कुछ नहीं करें, but when somebody is charging at me this way, do you want me to just stare and be like, आप मुझे social media में सब कह रहे हैं कि I should not do anything? You can't.
But it works the
You
other
can't
way
say that.
also.
No,
I mean, don't forget the other way, because
I,
it's pro-
I will. I'll reverse the point. Now, if I'm a farmer and you're telling me you go, मैं इस ठंड में बैठा हूँ, go all the way back, or you will call me a traitor, but I am the one who is feeding your entire country also. So does that make me a traitor or you're the traitor? Some
Exactly.
certain elements are got and
'Cause-
did cause some
'cause we are
violence, और
forgetting-
हम
because a
इतने
lot of
extreme
blackout was also responsible for hiding the police brutality side of it as well. I'm not saying this is as against a police officer. There's a lot
No,
of
no.
things done against the police officer at the same
1000%,
time,
Kevin.
but police
Kevin,
officers were also involved in that.
let us,
So yeah,
let
that,
us-
Oh
I'm just
yeah,
saying
it's not
Yep.
only one sided, right? I'm sure
It's
police
both
also
sides.
yeah. उसमें there's
It's
nothing,
both
and
sides.
इसलिए we cannot say who is right and wrong. Whole point is we have
Yeah,
to
I'm
understand the
not-
bigger picture.
Kevin,
Exactly.
that's the thing, na, Kevin. That's why for me, I'm like forced to like as if for any of this argument, discussion, or opinions to progress as Kale transitions us into our solutions. I think it is very important to realize that there is no right answer ever, because there are too many people on both sides
Yep.
who genuinely believe, and उनकी reality actually अलग है. So what are you
Correct.
going to do?
And funny part is कि unfortunately social media portrays all these things as कि भाई इंडिया में 100 करोड़ है तो 100 crore people are very much engaged into this. I'm taking अभी farm laws के बारे में. They all are actually engaged into
No.
this thing.
No.
That is
Reality
I
is
think
far from-
No.
any of the 5 people who listen to this should just know this, and people who get super emotional when these arguments happen, just जो कि ट्विटर में इतनी गंदी चीज लिखी है वो, no, जब मैंने उस दिन तुझे ही बोला था, मतलब अभी मैं any of you also, if you get super angry, there are क्या कहते हैं, ये पूरा इंडिया ट्विटर पे नहीं है. India is not Twitter. Some Indians happen to be on Twitter is the only thing you need to know, and
A
same for
small
any country.
percentage.
Yeah, insert
Small
any
as in it's a
country of your
negligible
like,
percentage if you
Yeah.
think about
Yeah.
in terms of
These
India का
are
population.
the people most voiceable and like ridiculously furious on these platforms do not represent the bulk of the people who are unaware of what is happening. जिनको सब तभी पता लगता
No,
है
but Kangana
जब
Ranaut
सुबह
speaks
अखबार
for the
पढ़ते
whole
हैं.
nation.
She's definitely speaks.
Okay, so now I feel जैसे यहाँ पे है ना जब मैं I will support if someone bans her account. I will wholeheartedly support it. I might
I
be
guess,
wrong.
yeah.
Now there
She
will
is
be a
spreading hate in a very
no, but at the same time जो उसके fans होंगे they will be against it, right? कि नहीं
exactly.
उसका freedom
Yeah,
of speech
like
है यहाँ
Trump,
पे.
like Trump.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
there's always two sides to this.
Yep.
इसलिए
It's
freedom of
all
speech is
point of
myth.
views, man. It's all point
Yeah,
of views. You
yeah,
cannot.
even
It's
if
very.
we feel, yeah, even if we feel we are right, we don't have the right to say कि ये तो
Yep.
completely गलत है.
And unfortunately,
or
in
they
सब
should
चीजों
think
में
like that.
government gets the absolute power. They will get to decide, and you might not support them. You might support them. That's the
That's all politics, man.
That's all
that is
democracy, right?
politics.
If you don't support them, you go and vote against them. If you support
In
them, you
general
vote.
politics, we support, we don't
Bhai,
support. It all plays into
Did
that.
you
But be
understand the
patient
irony of
enough for
अभी
be patient enough for the your chance to come. Do not try to.
भाई, but understand
I
what
mean,
I've
election
just
comes
said.
only once in 4 or 5 years.
But you have to still vote ना, like
Yep.
कितने लोग जो इंडिया के उसमें involved है will readily not say क्यों. अभी Capitol Hill में some of the people who invaded it, imagine they were so angry to invade that building, but it was found out that some of them ironically did not even vote in the election. They were protesting for Trump, but they didn't even vote for him. They just
You will be
didn't
shocked
vote.
in a country like United States. यहाँ का voter turnout is less than India. Can you beat it? So-called progress nation यहाँ पे voting is one of the most fundamental rights. यहाँ पे वोटर टर्नआउट कम है एज कम्पेयर टू इंडिया. सो नाउ
Can they
इमेजिन
make
कि
a
एक्चुअल स्टेट वो क्या है.
It's
can
weird,
they
na?
make a secure way of sitting at home and voting? I mean, it'll make life much more
नहीं यार,
easier for
then do you
everyone.
US
think
did it, na?
tam
Mail-in
आप
votes technically in a way
Mail
in
it
US.
technically
no
it's
no no
it's one form of
Technically,
it.
that's very
but
different.
yeah.
टेक्नोलॉजिकल तुम जो अभी अभी जैसे इंडिया में हो रहा है कि like, अगर तुम टेक्नोलॉजी पे ओपन कर रहे हो या किसी नेटवर्क पे अपलोड कर रहे हो इसको, लाइक आई डू नॉट अंडरस्टैंड द टेक्निकल पार्ट्स ऑफ इट इवन रिमोटली, बट in this age of tampering, like it sounds
Mm.
ridiculously scary to ever make it
No,
electronic.
but I do believe there will be a point जहाँ पे ये सब
Yeah,
possible होगा.
That,
But right now,
not now.
no, not
Not
now.
now,
now.
not
Yeah,
now.
yeah, not right now. Yeah.
But it's very weird when Arnav said that about that the US, how many US people vote, people in the US vote. It's just
Because
a political
Akash, people's
politics such in the
attitude is so
spotlight,
different,
especially
na?
in America, everywhere in the world. It's just
No,
shocking.
Akash, it's the spotlight. There is so much more to life than all
Yeah,
of this. The worst
exactly.
part about social media is it morphs, especially for people who get influenced by it. 75 million और 79 million बोल रहे हैं, और यूएस की ओवरऑल पॉपुलेशन कितनी है? अगर 150 मिलियन ही लोग थे क्या वहाँ पे? और भी तो लोग थे जिन्होंने वोट नहीं किया. That shows there is more to any place than just whom we are voting for. But yeah.
See,
Actually,
when I
this was the
tweeted,
biggest 2020 was their biggest one of the biggest voter turnouts in recent. Otherwise, इतना
see,
होता नहीं. But this was also very
Mm.
extreme circumstances. What happened?
see, when I tweeted to Salman Khan and made fun of his driving
I,
skills, and he blocked me, that was also my right of freedom was taken.
it was.
Literally, US का population is 331 million or something.
He
नहीं, but
shouldn't have the right to block me.
Amrit, voting population is different, right, than actual population. So
Oh,
voter turnout should be based on
never
the
mind.
voting population. Yeah.
What was the voter turnout percentage wise?
I think it's somewhere in mid 60s is bar, which is high for US.
Oh yeah, that's very high.
In the Hillary and Donald Trump one, there was a lot that people didn't vote. No,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
election. I remember that.
वही था ना कि they went by the logic of like कि
दोनों ही
exit-
खराब है.
नहीं, exit poll में कहाँ है वो जीतेगी. I don't want to. Some people vote for the Green Party. I did it randomly. But yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people. I mean, Hillary was predicting the win, right? Like, in fact, they were celebrating before
The
the
media
results
was
were out.
predicting Hillary would
Predicting
win.
Yeah.
A lot. Yeah, but I just want to say, I think it's a bit ridiculous that Greta Thunberg has a FIR filed against her.
No.
I
Let
think
me correct वहाँ पे.
It was
There's no
not filed
FIR
on her.
against
It was
her.
not filed.
That-
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay then.
They are just looking
I
for
was
the
gonna
source
say.
of the whoever gave her the
Source of
toolkit.
who created that
Again,
I thought
toolkit and
a FIR
everything.
was filed against her. I was
Boss,
like, okay, come on,
Akash-
man. Leave that.
Akash, as our host and Joe Rogan, you should be fighting this fake news, not spreading it.
Okay, that's why I have you
And I know
guys here to correct me.
मीडिया यहाँ पे like when they initially posted उनको भी लगा होगा because maybe किसी ने but बाद
I
में they
read
all
it
corrected their
somewhere,
own.
but yeah, then
Yeah,
I
but
didn't
they
get the
all
correction
corrected it.
for it.
भाई
Yeah.
तुम उस बच्ची की ट्वीट देखकर हम यहाँ से पुलिस भेजेंगे स्वीडन उसके पीछे.
That's
क्या
why.
बात कर
Yeah,
रहे हो?
that's what I was thinking. But hey, I mean, AIB got FIRs filed against them for that.
भाई
vote.
No,
FIR आकाश, कल मैं तेरे नाम का FIR कल जाके फाइल कर सकता हूँ. It's just a very catchy headline. FIR is
Yes.
literally first information report. तू करेगा क्या उसके बाद? is the
Nothing will
point.
happen now
Exactly. तो there is a limit to it.
in
Now,
these
if you are
cases.
if you are caught under a certain legislation which is very tricky, जैसे वो कॉमेडियन वाला जो हुआ है जिसमें तुम इंसाइट वो कर रहे हो, रिलीजियस हार्मनी में कर रहे हो, then you can be caught in quite badly. But in most cases कि मैं इसने ट्वीट ऐसे किया. ग्रेटा
There's so many people tweeting वहाँ पे.
Yeah.
Actually, it's all about
How can you-
creating the वो कि भाई कि अरे नहीं we will take some action. It's all about creating a
हम-
perception कि we are taking some action.
by overreacting to celebrities, we are giving them more
Yeah,
publicity to
wh-
than
why are you
possible.
focusing on that? I just keep
Why
it on topic on you. Why are you focusing on what this person tweeted?
Yeah,
just leave
by
it.
No,
saying
I
ना कि आपको बोलना नहीं चाहिए, जैसे ट्विटर पे बोलने से इंडिया
Yeah.
की वो चेंज हो, ग्राउंड रियलिटी चेंज होने वाली है ना जैसे. And there is like if this was election year, I would still understand. But this is the worst part of it was for me, the ironic part of it was all our famous celebrities coming out and tweeting similar things. और वो सिद्धार्थ नहीं एक्टर, उसने बोला था ना, प्रोपेगेंडा इज व्हेन आप सब आके सेम चीज बोल रहे हो इतने टाइम बाद जब आप नॉर्मली किसी भी चीज पे कुछ नहीं बोलते. दैट इज व्हाट एक्चुअल प्रोपेगेंडा इज कॉल्ड.
Yeah.
Because literally, if all of you come and say the same thing,
both are PR campaigns. What
no,
happened
no, but
internationally,
it's
what happened nationally.
no, but it's ironic, na. Our
Yeah.
national campaign is that against propaganda together. That's literally propaganda का definition कि आप सब एक चीज को push कर रहे हो. But yeah, आकाश solutions क्या
Anyway,
है?
let's move on to the solutions. What solutions do you guys think
मैं उंगली घुमा रहा
we
हूँ
can
इतनी देर
come
से
up with? Yeah,
transition
Amrit
के
has
लिए.
been trying to for this dilemma of free speech in a way.
Honestly, mera isme like it's funny, like I mean we can come up with I'm not saying we should not, but we have to जो already है अपना, if you read the article 19 का वही, right, it's
Yes, I'm really well versed in the Article 19. Please continue.
so the thing is ki what's already there, I think it's brilliant. I don't see any, you can
my
always say ki
feelings
there's
exactly.
no perfect solution, there's never going to be a perfect solution. So what's there ki there you have a freedom of speech and expression, and there are certain limitations to it, and that should always be there. Because in a perfect world ki bhai koi boundaries nahi hoti दुनिया में, everyone is on the same page, sure, then freedom of speech sounds great, complete freedom of speech. But there has to be certain limitations which are there. And in a democratic country, or forget about in any country, you will have certain limitations, whether it's अब तुम चाइना में तो ये सब है भी नहीं, for example, you don't have a
Yeah, it's a
concept of,
dictatorship.
yeah.
More common.
So we can make fun of कि अरे government is putting limitations यहाँ पे. At the same time, we have to realize the amount of freedom which we get. People can protest for straight 6 months, good या right या wrong, कुछ भी, regardless of the subject. That shows कि people have, majority of the time people have that liberty. And we should also look at the positive sides of freedom of speech which we already get, rather than कि अरे nitpicking कि अरे यार ये नहीं होना चाहिए, मेरा tweet block नहीं होना चाहिए, and things like that.
Wait,
And that's
Amrit,
my 2 cents.
Amrit's
But that's
getting
the
a source.
problem, no?
Amrit's getting a source. He's got a newspaper
नहीं
out in front of him. Amrit,
नहीं
what are you
मैं
doing?
Okay, just Akash,
budget वाला newspaper
just for
लेके
your
आया.
reference, there are
Ah.
8 restrictions under. So it's essentially security of the state.
Yes, Kevin, I
friendly
already know all of
relations
this,
with the
but you can
foreign
carry on.
state. Oh, I thought you don't know.
No, I know all of this, but carry on. I'd like to hear it again. Just carry on.
Decency or morality, contempt of court, defamation.
No. Decency what? No, I'm serious now. Decency what?
I'm not
serious.
going to say anything now.
No, I was laughing. They're laughing at me, not at you.
Kevin was telling us about Article 19 ka clause 2, I believe. Kevin, what are the 8 reasons out of the 8 reasonable restrictions that have been placed by? It's important people know.
Yeah, read it out.
Okay,
I actually
so it's essentially the 8 restrictions: the security of the state, friendly relations with foreign states, public order, decency or morality, contempt of court, defamation, and incitement to offense. And the last one is sovereignty and integrity of India.
बस उसके
And the
उसके
last
अंदर सब
one-
कुछ आ सकता है.
Yeah, that's very
that's-
broad.
it's
I was
too-
gonna say that
Last
very,
one is a
very
bit
broad.
vague.
yeah.
No, the last one is a
that's like
recent
blanket
amendment. I think
statement
last
in a
one
way.
was added. The sovereignty and integrity of India was added quite late. I think last 2 years में amendment में add हुआ था वो. But essentially, like Arnav said, majority of it is like quite like it's called a reasonable restrictions. Like it is reasonable because social media has shown us that भाई हमारे बस की नहीं है हर जगह से सब कुछ सुनना. Like I genuinely believe, like mentally we are not. The social dilemma में I think there was a line where they said we are not ready for this much input.
This
Of
much
everything.
I don't think
information.
people are even ready
opinion
for
being thrown
one.
at our faces.
I don't think people are even ready for one alternate opinion. Leave for like hundreds of them.
Yeah, like I think it's very fair. Like and the instantaneous feedback, na, right? That's
Yep.
see, there's a profession where you get instant feedback. That's like a stand-up comedian, and that's unko mile instant feedback, and they talk about how harrowing it is. We are all normal individuals, and who probably have no extraordinary ability to like take that level of feedback. Yet, due to some weird FOMO, all of us indulge in this. So my personal solution would be a very specifically know yourself. Are you somebody who can engage with people who have like beyond क्या कहते हैं, बहुत blatantly different opinions than you? Because there are some people who are built for that debate, like who are ready to go into the depths of internet of direct conversation with people who have completely hostile opinions. That's one thing. First is to
Arnab.
know yourself. I don't think Arnav can. I think
Arnab,
no, like,
nub, not Arnav.
Oh, मैंने कहा I don't even have Facebook right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was just gonna, I should have said Goswami at the end, but I wanted Amrit to finish his point. Carry on.
The first and foremost would be knowing yourself, and B, just always know that regardless of how innocent you think your opinion is, अगर तुम public domain में डाल रहे हो, then as Akash said, you
Prepare for
should
the
be ready for
consequences.
prepare for it. I think that was the most important thing out of it, because in this day and age, if you're not aware that anything can, there is a huge reach to what you're saying, and you feel what you're saying is correct, then you should be ready for the worst case scenario at all times. Now, is it fair? Absolutely, it's not fair. But it is a reality. It's like saying गाड़ी full speed में आ रही है वहां से, तुम्हें पता है कि वो full speed में आ रही है और तुम खड़े हो नहीं ये गलत है, वो speed limit cross कर चुके हैं, but गाड़ी तो आ रही है ना भाई. Unless there's a societal level पर change,
If
which
I'm
will be
driving गाड़ी
gradual.
100 की speed पे, does it come under freedom of speech and expression?
This is why nobody asks you anything.
Please, you're breaking the rules, causing a
Exactly.
security of the state.
So I guess
it's
the
just, you
issue.
fell into a trap, Kevin. That's why Amrit danced. You fell into this
I
trap.
mean,
there was a reason for that question. कि there's always limitation to every single thing, no matter what kind of expression it is.
Enough still. First, Kevin, you are useless. And second, you start uploading YouTube videos, sharing your great pravachans. But yeah, Akash, that's my thing. First, understand who you are as a person. Are you easily provoked? Then you should stay away from debates about free speech in the first place. Second, be ready for consequences and be educated enough about the topic you're saying. You should be ready that there can be pushback that's against your thing.
Mine is along the same lines. Think before tweeting whatever is on your mind a little. Have a little think
Yeah,
about
social
it. Which
media
is,
has ruined the whole.
yeah.
इतने जल्दी चीजें fake news spread करती है ना,
people
as
are
if
very
कि पता नहीं.
impulsive.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
impulsive.
very
Which is the
impulsive.
bad part. I think that's the right word जो Kevin ने भी use किया कि because
Yeah.
of social media, people think कि they can tweet anything, they can post anything, and then that's true.
I really think we need to. Everyone needs to like get some form of education related to social media and how to be responsible with it. Because I feel we are
it's-
not ready to be there.
I think it's one step more fundamental. I was having a discussion with one of my friends कि what everyone should do is try to go into depth. Forget about social media. If you have gone into depth of any subject, and again that's a very relative thing, right? तेरे लिए depth अलग होगी, मेरे लिए depth अलग होने वाली है. But at least put some effort. That don't just read one blog and go and tweet something about it. Try
Don't
to read the whole
react.
context.
Just stop
Yeah, don't
reacting.
react.
Before reacting, like learn. Just pause. Don't react immediately. Don't let these idiots and their headlines just break you. Because कि पूरा मूड खराब हो गया, मैंने अभी ये गंदी हेडलाइन देखी कि लोग क्या कह रहे हैं. लोग तो बहुत चीजें कहेंगे. But
It
do they
comes
have
to the classic rule that before giving your opinion on something, learn about it. That's what we've been like, everything in school, and even you learn about this. You have to read up on assignments, case studies, and then you give an opinion.
And funny part
based
is
on
कि one side की हाँ जो misinformation का trend चल रहा है, at the same time there's so many sources जहाँ पे तुम्हें इतनी सारी information मिल जाती है आजकल, right? Like there, and I think there are people like when we discuss a topic on podcast, we try to, इसलिए अपन बोलते हैं कि यार try to, even if you have to spend 3-4 hours, it's okay. Because what we should, otherwise we will come out as the same कि अरे यार जो दूसरे लोग कर रहे हैं कि अपन ने भी सिर्फ एक blog पढ़ के we are just stating out the points यहाँ पे. So I think even that's a point for all four of us कि we should spend more time researching the topics. I'm not saying we don't. I'm just saying we should also continue
So
the
basically,
trend.
you're talking to Akash. Okay.
You asshole. You had to bring me in it.
In the last episode, Kevin said I have read few blogs and I lost it there.
So that's where you were
What
aiming at,
blogs?
Kevin, when you said blogs.
I
You
said
mentioned
articles.
blogs.
Wait.
Aiming
no,
at Kevin.
again, I'm not aiming
Kevin,
at Kevin
that
right
is
now.
his free speech. That's his free speech, Kevin. You can't get angry. How dare you get angry, Kevin?
No,
If
it
you
was
break
not
his
aiming
free
at you
speech,
guys, man. Okay, we have been doing that.
No, essentially you
good
can
job
even
वहाँ
read
पे.
blogs, Arnav. Wait, you can read blogs if someone is giving you an opinion. I'm just telling. No, we should not restrict say someone that blogs need पढ़
No.
सकते हो.
I'm not saying
So,
कि मत
no,
पढ़ो.
wait. Let me finish. So essentially, if you have a businessman like Elon Musk is stating an opinion of himself, so if that is a blog, right? So if you cannot just express your opinion based on just Elon has said, so I'm going to. If you're reading Elon Musk, if you're reading Jeff Bezos, if you're reading Ratan Tata, they're all blogs, but you're going to get some information of it. So
True,
I'm saying
100%.
yeah, we should not restrict saying that blogs are not wrong. I'm not
Not
saying I got
just
my
blogs.
information
It,
from
it,
Yeah,
should,
sure.
Not
it
Now,
just,
shouldn't
yeah.
be.
blogs are not
Counter
wrong. You
check
are
your
wrong, Arnav.
information.
You are wrong.
Counter check your information.
Yeah, I
I
agree
think
with
that
you.
is
This
what
guy
our
is,
import.
he's
I think the
fake news,
importance is
Kevin.
the importance is that you have to counter check your information. Yes,
Yeah,
Exactly.
definitely
actually,
वो
agree.
yeah.
कि you have to go in depth. You read blogs.
Arnav, keep
My
going.
point
Which
is
is
not don't read
Arnav,
blogs.
your
do your
opinion is
research.
zero.
Be
Arnav,
like
you are
me.
zero. I am on team Kevin. Okay, I'm blatantly मैं team Kevin पे हूँ. तू तू होता कौन है बे blogs पे सवाल उठाने वाला? तू कौन है बे? तेरे
Freedom
blog
of
ज्यादा अच्छे हैं.
speech. Freedom of अमृत का वो बैन करो.
बस.
Someone mute
आकाश
Amrit's mic.
आका-
Oh,
आक- आक-
Arnav,
आक-
your
आक-
host,
आक-
mute Amrit's mic. Remove his freedom of speech right now. I do not want him talking
पर
enough.
I should
ये तो
block
अजीब
him
है.
from Zoom.
अबे इनकी लड़ाई थी. अबे अर्नव block yourself. If you have
I just want to
guts,
block
block.
Amrit, just Evie as well. Just block
अर्नव
Amrit.
block अर्नव block Zoom. मैं तो कर Zoom को block.
Blog Zoom.
Wait, don't say that. Nee, Zoom is the only way of recording.
Yeah, that's
Nee,
the only
Zoom
way of
hai.
recording.
We're not going to block you,
And
and you
that
don't
works
block us.
And we have paid for annual subscription, Amrit. Remember.
Yes.
Oh yeah, करा था ना.
Uh-huh.
Wait,
And it's
Amrit
coming
has
out of
paid.
Amrit's
Technically,
wallet.
it's not a lot. Yeah.
And we end up blocking Amrit.
हाँ, मुझे कोई ताकत क्यों नहीं मिलती स्पेशल वाली? This I have no special power. What rubbish.
Okay, moving on. Let's quickly
No,
talk
no.
about the.
Kevin has to give solution.
Oh, okay. I thought, well, Kevin, I
No,
think
I
has
already
agreed with
said.
us in
Oh,
that
okay.
way. That
Yeah.
think
No,
about
I just
before
talked
you
about. I just talked about like
blogs
social
and all
media has
that.
become freedom. Freedom has become like freedom of speech has become a topic, especially after social media has become such a prominent force in our community.
Mhm.
So essentially, I think now that there is a tool out there, we also need to educate our people to use it. We are not ready for that thing. We have just been introduced to a tool to like make a like. I mean, everyone's opinion does matter on that social media. Somebody or the other gets affected with it. So I think when you have a strong tool like that, you need to know how to use it also.
You need to be
So I
responsible.
think it's
a
high
bit.
time. It's high time we have to get trained also on
Yep.
using it. I don't use it myself, but I do see people getting affected by it.
No,
Well,
Kevin, it's the
daily.
younger kids. It's the younger kids who will
Yeah.
think that that opinion is going to mean everything. And you'll be
And-
like, नहीं मुझे बोलने का हक है, but आप
I was
बच्चों
just-
में hate breed कर रहे हो.
I was
Akash,
going
it's
to
a
say,
serious
essentially, I
topic,
think-
Akash.
it's funny
Akash,
that
stop
Kevin
laughing.
says you should be responsible with the tweet, and then his last tweet was what, Kevin? To Salman Khan.
To Salman Khan, right?
It's just so funny that he.
See,
was
but I
like-
mean,
see,
what
there is a
Kevin is
big
saying is true.
difference.
no,
But
it's
I
true,
think that's the
100%
problem.
true. Do
Yeah,
not.
but what he
But,
no, but his
but there's
point
a
is correct.
see
but
for
Kevin is
Sallu
the
bhai,
problem.
I don't. It doesn't matter. I'm going to
No,
make
but,
fun of
but
him anyway.
guys, you have to
It's like
you have to
contradicting.
understand. You have to understand. Kevin ka point was a very nice way to cover everything, but Kevin is the problem. Just understand
Yeah,
this.
basically.
Kevin जैसे लोग हैं जो ये लड़ाइयाँ शुरू करते हैं.
They to
ये
summarize,
जाके-
you should, when you're using these powerful tools, you should know how to use them, which in
Yeah.
a way it is true. Unfortunately,
It's
people don't do
100%
that.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think young kids also should stay away from it. Like if you think you're going to get like that's especially for parents as well. I think you should not get onto Twitter if you're not ready to see all point of views. Just,
But
otherwise,
वहाँ
just
पे
stay out.
there's a
of
very
it.
fine line, Kevin. How do we decide that, right? Ki who is not? I mean, there's an age limit technically,
Yeah.
which is not enforced. People can
I
create.
mean, you should know yourself. I mean,
I
you
can
should
pretend I'm
think
born
about
in
it as yourself.
1900s,
20.
1901 or
Yeah.
something. And then
वो
just
बड़ा
say,
check कर
which is very easy.
वो
So,
वो बड़ा check करने
Like
वाले.
for me personally, I wouldn't like Twitter because like if I see some extreme right comments, I don't want to comment on it. I don't want to read about it. Also, I'm like,
But
this
it
is
emotionally
absolute
triggers
bullshit.
you. Emotionally it
Yeah,
triggers
I
you.
don't
and
want to
that's-
read about it. Like if someone is
Kevin-
talking about something bad about a race or a religion or something like that, that
Kevin,
pisses me off.
5
So
years
that- I
ago,
was like,
that's
I'm gonna
why
stay away
5
from
years ago, 5 years ago, that's one of the biggest reasons why I quit all social media.
it. Yeah.
Because because I do not want my entire day to be spent around like यार ये लोग ऐसे एक दूसरे को कैसे बोल
क्यों
सकते हैं?
बता
What
रहे
are
हैं?
the-
क्यों बोल रहे
what
हैं?
what are we हम किन बातों पे लड़ रहे हैं यार? Like what we used to be like, you know, घर पे you lokesh or around colony में you'll hear somebody say something insensitive or unfair, and you're like, you know, it's like just a fringe opinion of somebody. You don't take it to heart. But like when you see people saying it on a large scale, it's very painful because you see a different side of people. You see the different side of people you knew. Like social media, one of the worst things for me, especially, was just like seeing कि जिन लोगों को I thought कि like ये तो rational, not even rational, like इनमें इतनी नफरत थोड़ा ना हो सकती है. But then you see it right in front of your face. and then
Yeah.
like it's no longer a laughing matter. Like the person in
Yeah.
class who used to say, oh yeah, he says outlandish things, yaar. वो तो पता नहीं but then you see them spread wish for violence. That can have
Yeah.
a very shocking effect on you. And I think
Do you think iska other side ki if we think like if we can manage, because we four of us अपन active नहीं है social media पे, right? We barely post anything, like not almost zero. So do you think if we
It's
think like
evident by
we
our Instagram account, by the way. I have
भाई
to
मेरा
do that. Kevin has done it
so
all.
do
I
you
have
think
to.
like it's
No,
better
I
like we add our points which are more neutral, like try to understand, I don't know, but at the same time I hope it doesn't trigger our emotions, at least it
no,
won't.
I mean
मुझे लगता है कि नहीं
choosing.
करता.
Arnav, मैं बोलने वाला था कि like the thing that helped me like pacify whatever this frustration was towards कि why are people so at this point like so blatantly divided was, first when you step away from social media you understand this is not a black and white
Yeah.
issue. No issue is black and white. जिसको कोई भी issue तुम उठा के ले आओ, there is nuances on the approach and the incident available if you just step away from it. Secondly, I think it's very crucial that we understand that we have to educate ourselves more and more. जो अर्नव ने जैसे बोला था, मेरे लिए सबसे बड़ा चीज था कि अच्छा ये इस बात पे लोग लड़ रहे हैं, लेट मी टेक आउट एंड दिस इज बॉदरिंग मी, आई एम थिंकिंग अबाउट इट, आई एम हैविंग अ मीनिंगलेस डिस्कशन अबाउट इट विद माय पेरेंट्स और somebody I met and I'm like, पर there also I'm just repeating जो मैंने सुना है, मैंने सुना था ये जो केविन वो जो था ना, इट्स नॉट जस्ट अबाउट ब्लॉग्स एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट, मैंने हेडलाइन में न्यूज कास्टर इज सेइंग कि ये ऐसा हुआ है तो मैं उसकी बात मान रहा हूँ. But the beauty about this century is that while misinformation is there, as Arnav said, there are so many reliable sources also. And you will understand a reliable source because it will be trying to base it as much as possible on facts. Like you will
And
see,
plus,
कि
they
अच्छा
won't take
facts,
sides usually. They will try to keep it more neutral tone.
No, it's
that
Not
is our
okay to
taking
aim.
take.
sides.
It's okay to take sides. It's just that you just need to look at like multiple sources before you
Yeah,
say that okay, this
Yeah.
side is right.
right. Like अच्छा कि in my opinion, this side is right. You, in your opinion, that side might be wrong, or
Uh,
this side might be.
Yeah.
But
a
that
best
way,
example is if someone is a Republic TV fan, that is fine. But also spend some time to go switch on NDTV Hindi version under Ravish Kumar and see one of his article also at the same time. That way you get point of view a bit more fact based and you get the Republic TV drama as well. I mean, either way, you get a wide opinion.
बोल ही दिया केविन ने
I
फिर.
mean,
Kevin ने finally बोल दिया.
He couldn't keep it neutral. He couldn't
Yeah,
keep
he
it
couldn't
neutral.
keep it neutral.
no, but
Kevin,
see,
you are banned.
see, personally, I know what my side is, so that's why I don't watch certain sources and I do not read certain sources.
That's what.
That is
Kevin, that's the
Kevin,
problem.
that's the.
no, no,
That's
no,
the
no. Again, let me clarify what I meant. As in, I don't read certain extreme side of comments. I stay away from those extreme sides. That is what I meant. Especially
yeah,
if it is causing any kind of hatred, and that is what
but
like certain
Kevin,
sources are.
if it makes sense to you and you don't add to any sort of violence, then there is no issue. Do
Yeah,
whatever makes you comfortable, whatever keeps your mental health stable.
yeah,
For
Yeah,
me,
that's the.
for
Yep.
for me, the most crucial element is I want to find out कि हम किस बात पे लड़ रहे हैं और इसका historical
correct,
context क्या है, इसका present context क्या है, actually rule
correct.
में क्या बोला गया था, and then I want to make an opinion. And I don't particularly care कि after I make an opinion based on those facts, कि if it appears wrong, because like I said ना, after 5 years of experiments with just तुम लोगों से तो last 1.5 साल से, इससे पहले others people who were around me, it's like one of the things I've very specifically realized is that more often than not, if you just look into any issue, you can see why each side acted the way they did. It is an unfortunate thing. People will say तुम neutered opinion है ये तो, तुम कुछ बोल ही नहीं रहे. But you are dealing with human beings who have very complex emotions for acting the way they're acting. Yes, there are certain, even then you can choose कि ये गलत है. Okay, I am against this. Does not make it the be all or end all कि absolutely गलत है because I feel it's wrong. I think that's something people miss out with free speech. Your free speech does not mean that it's correct speech for everyone. It might be absolutely wrong as well. So that is something people need to understand. And I think that level of rejection we as a society are not okay with. So yeah.
Yep.
Okay, moving on. Let's quickly talk about the union budget. What are everyone's thoughts about it? Just
मेरे को
over
कुछ
the top.
समझ नहीं आया.
Same.
So let me see from an article I found. I
Oh,
kept it up for
ओए
thing.
अर्नव
So
अर्नव
it
ये
said
ब्लॉग
the
ब्लॉग
winners.
पढ़ रहा है
आकाश
अर्नव
को म्यूट कर
ब्लॉग्स
देते हैं.
The
No, no.
winner.
One
I
of the
mean,
two things that I really liked
it's
was
times of
the focus on
India.
healthcare. The focus on healthcare is
Yeah,
like
but
I think the
that's
last 3-4
expected.
years
Yeah.
under the current government that was something I felt was lacking, and I
Hmm.
think because of COVID that they're playing a catch-up game on that. But because of COVID, at least now I feel there's been a compensation that of that slack.
Definite. Yep.
That is a very good move. Then education, which is secondly one of I've always been concentrating on healthcare and education. So there's a lot of focus on a lot of budgets set for scenic schools and uh, free government school education
Really?
and improving that standard. So that has been set up, which is a good move, and like another central university in Ladakh, which is going to help that local area as well. Those are one of the two positives that I really liked of the budgeting.
I heard there was from the article, it says there's going to be a focus also on infrastructure, so real estate and construction,
Yeah.
which.
But what
75 के
specifically did you like in that?
75
Mhm.
के अबव अगर आप हो तो आपको और अगर आपको सिर्फ इनकम मिल रहा है
Oh,
इंटरेस्ट से
yeah.
या पेंशन से
I
देन
remember
आपको अभी
this.
टैक्स रिटर्न्स नहीं भरने आपका बैंक आपके टैक्स रिटर्न्स भरेगा दैट वाज वन थिंग आई रेड व्हिच आई फेल्ट वाज वेरी गुड अबव 75 लोगों को
I feel that should be changed a little bit, Amrit. In my opinion, I'm just saying expressly. I'm not saying that that is wrong. I was thinking that it should be more like 65, as in a retirement age, and
पर प्राइवेट
being
वगैरह में
able.
केविन प्राइवेट वगैरह में 65 आई थिंक समवेयर वियर्डली बट दैट्स थिंग मेंटली मेरे लिए द नंबर वुड हैव बीन 70 इन माइंड कि लाइक 70 के ऊपर लोगों को इस
No,
झंझट में मत डालो
65 and retired, essentially.
Yeah,
So if you're
okay,
not
fair enough.
retired, you
That,
should not get
yeah.
that advantage.
I think you're
Hmm.
correct. You're correct. What do you
मेरे
say?
तो
Yeah,
number
because
should have been
government see,
25. Tax free after 25.
see, because government
भाई
government
Perfect
बहुत
jobs are
less
world,
लगता है
60
Arnav.
वो
now.
Perfect
बहुत
world.
बहुत
में only.
बहुत अच्छी दुनिया थी
Amrit, government jobs are 60 abhi bhi. So that is why I was
yeah
talking about that.
66 no that way correct because anyways ये rule कहता है कि pension और pension तो I think retired लोगों को ही
Yeah.
मिलेगी तो I think that
Yeah.
part is there but I think yeah, I think you're correct 65 and retired in any way shape or form आपको इस झंझट में पड़ना नहीं चाहिए because I think they've realized कि
Correct.
everything can be digitalized anyways तो आप इनको फालतू में इनसे IT returns भरवा के क्यों दिमाग चाट रहे
So
हो
they don't have to pay taxes, right? और क्या
no,
मुझे
no,
पता
no,
नहीं
no,
है.
no, no. They don't have to fill out tax returns. The bank themselves. If you are receiving only pension or like तुम्हारी mutual funds का interest या कुछ मिल रहा है, these two section के under and you're 75 and above, your bank will only calculate your deductions on its own and fill it out. You don't have to do it.
Oh, interesting. Okay, because मैंने budget पढ़ा नहीं है and I thought कि you guys are talking about कि वो they don't have to pay taxes after
No,
75 if
नहीं.
they have any income. इसलिए मैं बोला कि फिर तो मुझे भी चाहिए 25 के बाद.
That is Arnav, I think that's a very different thing. No taxes करने में लोग चप्पल वापस मारेंगे भी पैसे चाहिए. I don't think we'll say no to a source of revenue, but yeah, bank directly deductions करेगा. That's it. That's
Got it.
I mean, Arnav, if you want no taxes in at the age of 25 and all, you should go to Abu Dhabi.
Aja
In,
Arnav.
to,
Wait, I heard वहाँ पे लगा दिए taxes. Income tax is there, right?
VAT, income tax is not there. VAT,
Okay.
so, and that's also 5%.
just import tax.
Akash, can you adopt me?
Yes, I'll adopt you, Arnav. Don't worry.
पहले शादी कर ले then adopt me, okay?
Amrit wants to say something, but he's holding it in right
So,
now.
Akash, let's talk
So-
about your love life.
Let's talk about the negatives of the budget. Does anyone know what the negatives are?
भाई मुझे positive ही नहीं पता negative क्या बोलूँ मैं.
So apparently,
ये जो अखबार वाले अंकल है इन्होंने पूरा आर्टिकल लिखा है उस पे मुझे समझ नहीं आया.
I think exporters,
there is a big
higher
advantage.
tariffs,
disadvantage,
higher tariffs, which I guess
which is going to hurt a lot of industries.
Yep.
Health, electronic industry is going to get hit a lot because
IT firms are getting hit badly.
We are a consumer market, so having higher tax on electronic items is going to hurt us a little bit.
एक सेकंड मतलब if you buy electronics are costlier. So
Yeah.
Yep.
Essentially, now if you go to buy a OnePlus or something, in about like 2 months' time,
They
it is going to
said,
be more expensive.
yeah, like so Apple, the iPhone, buying the iPhone, it's actually cheaper for you guys to fly to Dubai, buy the iPhone, and come back.
and then come back.
Amrit, you are going to take a huge hit. You end up throwing your devices every 6 months.
Yeah, man.
So it's a
We
huge
just.
hit for you.
Why do you think I
Laptop,
picked up the
phone,
laptops
headphones.
topic? Why do you think I picked up the
Well,
laptops topic in the beginning?
what
You're
what do you
gone.
mean
man.
end up why do you end up throwing? यहाँ पे hacking चल रही है भाई, मैं जानबूझ के नहीं तोड़ता.
Yeah, सही बात है.
No, you end up sitting on your laptops. That's the only.
Yeah.
I'll ban Kevin. I just want to ban Kevin because it irritates him.
बेचारा
आकाश ने
Kevin.
बोला
है ना,
ये, या
मैं-
केविन ने बोला भी नहीं अभी कुछ.
Yeah, he just wants to ban Kevin.
I want to ban Kevin so badly right now. But yeah, from something.
On that note, we'll end this episode of the Vele podcast.
Guys,
Thank you.
recommendations.
We haven't done recommendations since I don't know how long.
Oh, but if you have a
I
recommendation,
want-
if you
say
have,
it.
if you have, say it.
I really liked. If you guys have not watched One Night in Miami, I actually really enjoyed it. It's a good worth a. It's worth
Where
a
is
It's a
it,
watch.
Kevin?
movie?
It's on Prime Video.
And is it a
Is
movie?
it a movie? Yeah.
It's a movie. So it
Okay.
essentially links up Sam Cooke, uh, Cassius Clay, well also known as Muhammad Ali. Well, Muhammad Ali also known as Cassius Clay.
Oh, but this is not
And,
this is fiction. It's not it's not based on real. I've heard about this then. Yeah. This is not actual.
No, it's not based on fiction. It's
It is.
based on
It's not real.
the
This situation didn't happen where they all three met up.
no. It's inspired from this
Inspired.
from the autobiography of Malcolm X.
Hmm. But I remember reading somewhere that this is not actually real. It's been a bit changed
What
quite a bit.
what
Yeah, it's been
platform
changed
is
for
it
sure.
on?
Amazon Prime
Amazon
Okay.
Prime.
Okay.
comes in 2 days, Amrit.
Noted.
अभी release नहीं हुआ? अच्छा.
No, it's released. Don't worry. Amrit, do you have a recommendation?
Yeah, because Kevin caught me off guard. I'm just like in the middle of reading a book by this cop who invented special task force वगैरह in India. अजय राज शर्मा. इसकी book है Biting the Bullet. उनकी बहुत अच्छी किताब है ये about the life of an officer in 60s, 70s, 80s India में और उनको क्या in 70s, 80s में and seeing the difficulties they go through. Like a lot of your opinion about blatantly negative opinion about cops goes away if you just hear of the other side, their side essentially, and like on most things. So that's a very good book. Biting the Bullet by Ajay Raj Sharma would be my recommendation of the week.
Arnav,
Although I'm
anything?
just halfway through.
नहीं भाई, लाइफ में कुछ नहीं चल रहा मेरे.
My
Sorry.
only thing I've been watching is WandaVision, and that shit's getting interesting now. Oh shit! Oh my god! I can't spoil it, obviously, but there's a big
Haven't even
surprise at the end
started.
of episode 5. There's a
Yeah,
huge.
guys, the
thing at
reality
episode
is
5.
Iron Man is back. So yeah, enjoy.
Something has happened in episode 5, which is crazy. But anyway, that is the end of this episode of the Vele podcast. Thank you guys for listening. We are available on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on YouTube. Give us a
And
follow.
yet you
at,
don't listen to us.
Give us a follow at Vele Pod as well on Instagram. Until next time, stay safe. Bye.
Or don't stay safe. Who knows?
Yeah, freedom of speech.
Kevin will ban you.